Hi VC, this is Aaron with Alamer, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite bands of all time, and they're called W.A.S.P. I've been into W.A.S.P. since the mid-'80s. They were one of the first really heavy bands I got into before I got into thrash. Before that, I was listening to, the typical stuff, the Quiet Riot, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Cinderella. Well, not even Cinderella, it was before Cinderella. But I was listening to those bands, and then, some hard rock stuff. And W.A.S.P. was the first band I got into that was a little bit heavier. And I first got into them during the Inside the Electric Circus era, and I got that album and their first album, and I listened to those continuously. They were like, I got them on the cassettes around the same time. And then I got also The Last Command soon after those. But the first one and Inside the Electric Circus were the ones that really got me going on them. And it was just life-changing hearing W.A.S.P. and the lyrics and Blackie Lawless's voice, and just the music was so heavy but still catchy and melodic, but had this edge to it that I really loved. And so they started out. I'm just going to show the stuff I have of them. I'm missing a bunch of their albums, actually. I wish I had them all, but I don't. I'll start off with their first kind of single, and this is Animal. Great song. Kind of started them off, and Show No Mercies on the B-side. I have actually two of these, and one of them is just the black wax, and there's the label there. And then I have this this other one here. I love this song too. I used to have a shirt with that on it. I loved wearing that. And then there's this Music for Nations kind of pinkish red copy. So that's an amazing song, and it was actually going to be on their first album, but the record company didn't want it on there for some reason. Well, because it's controversial, of course. So then they came out with this masterpiece, their first album. And I can't tell you how much I love this record. Every song. And this actually I got from a good friend of mine, Ken Squires. And it's autographed by all four members on the back. And it sounds amazing. Just great sounding record. And it's just like, it just blows right out of the speakers. And, it's just like every song starting off with I Want to Be Somebody, and going into Love Machine, and The Flame. The Flame's so good. And B.A.D. and School Days. I mean, that first side is perfect. And then the second side, you got Hellion, great song. Sleeping in the Fire, the Demented Ballad. It's such a great song, Sleeping in the Fire. On Your Knees, Tormentor, and The Torture Never Stops. This is as much of a perfect heavy metal record as I have ever heard. It's just so great. And they took the shock rock, which Alice Cooper and Kiss were doing, and they took it to a whole new level on stage. It was just, I actually never saw them live. That's too bad, but I've seen clips, and I know what they were all about. But they're just an amazing band. And at this point, you had Blackie Lawless, the singer, playing bass, and Chris Holmes on guitar. He's great. And then Steve Riley on drums, I believe, on this one. And Roddy Piper on the guitar. So, really good record. I might be wrong. Maybe Blackie was on guitar on this one. I thought he was bass, though. But, killer record. I also have a repress of it. This sounds really good. And this is that same color vinyl almost that the Animal was. There. And I also have a picture disc up on my wall of it. That's how much I love this record. I'll have 3 copies. Now, I don't have 3 copies of many different records. There's like 2 or 3 of them, maybe, of different albums. And then up next, they did this amazing record, The Last Command. Another heavy, great record. And this is an original copy here. It starts off with Wild Child, one of their most popular and greatest songs. Fistful of Diamonds, Ball Crusher, Jack Action, Widowmaker, Blind in Texas, very good song. Sex Drive. Cries in the Night, Running in the Streets. Every song's good. The first few W.A.S.P. albums are just amazing. There's nothing like them. I mean, I just love them. And I also have a repress. This is what I usually listen to, is the repress of that, which sounds really good. And I believe, yeah, it's on that same, they use the same color a lot. and there's the label there. But and then after that comes this album, which I only have a repress of. I had an original copy, but it had a bunch of water damage, and I traded it to my friend Ken, who I got that other record from, and I have this repress that sounds amazing. Inside the Electric Circus, and this is my favorite W.A.S.P album. This one, the first one, and Headless Children are like very close, but this is my favorite, and it always has been. And this is a cool vinyl here too. It's on blue wax, really cool. And the insert here with all the lyrics. But this album starts out with the intro, you know, the big welcome is called, and it's just like a carnival thing, and it's really cool, going into the song Inside the Electric Circus, which is amazing. And they do a cover of I Don't Need No Doctor. I think it was a Ray Charles song, but Ashford and Simpson did it. And then one of my very favorites, 95 Nasty, or 95 Nasty. When I was a teenager, I just loved that song. I loved the lyrics, everything about it. Restless Gypsy, amazing, amazing melodic song. And Shoot from the Hip, great. I love these sleaze metal lyrics. They're kind of one of the first sleaze metal bands, but they're heavy. These guys have a really heavy edge to them. And, you know, I'm Alive, the song on the second side of Starter, is just amazingly heavy and great. And Sweet Cheetah, Easy Living by Uriah Heep they do. Mantronic's King of Sodom and Gomorrah, and The Rock Rolls On. And this album, I just love it. Even the cover songs are really good. They're my least favorites on here. But songs like I'm Alive and Sweet Cheetah and Restless Gypsy are some of my very favorite W.A.S.P songs. They're just amazing. I can listen to this. I've listened to this album hundreds and hundreds of times. I always had it on cassette. I still have my first three, the cassettes of all three of those first three in my tape rack over there that I've had forever. And then after that, they put out this amazing live album, Live in the Raw. Love this album. It's from the Inside the Electric Circus tour. And they had two new songs on here, Harder, Faster, and The Manimal. Great songs, and a really good live. And Harder, Faster is like a song about the PMRC, which is the Parents Music Resource Center, who is trying to censor lyrics back in the 80s of a lot of heavy metal and rap and other music. And that was a big song for them. It also has a studio song called Scream Until You Like It, which I have the single up here I'll be showing. And there's the label. This is a great, great live album. Just love it. One of my favorite live albums ever, actually. I love this one. And then Scream Until You Like It was from Ghoulies 2 soundtrack. Here's a 12-inch single of that, which is cool because it's got live versions of Shoot from the Hip and Sleeping in the Fire on it, which are killer. And by this time, Blackie Lawless had gone to guitar, and Johnny Rod is on bass. Great bass player. And so after that, they had this masterpiece, The Headless Children. And they got a little more progressive, a little less shock rock, and it's one of the best albums ever made. It's so good. The song Mean Man has always been my favorite. I love that song. But Rebel in the FDG, you know, The Heretic, this title song, Thunderhead, is amazing. Every song's good. The kind of ballad on here, Forever Free, is amazing. And they have Frankie Banali, he's not shown on here, but he does the drums on this record, and it's just a monster drumming effort. He's just amazing on this. Frankie Banali just kicks ass on this record. And they do their single from this, first single was The Real Me, the Who song, and it's just killer. The drumming in it and the bass, it's just kicks ass. Killer stuff. And this one, they got a little more, less of the sleaze rock and more serious. And it's kind of the direction they went. The first three albums were a little different. But this album here is a masterpiece. Great, great record. And I've had this since it came out. I've always bought records. I usually bought tapes, but then certain ones I would buy the record of and the tape just because I like them so much. And I've had this record ever since, ever since it was out. Great stuff there. So after that, they did a concept album, and I only have this on picture disc, but it's really cool. It's The Crimson Idol. It's a whole story about a rock star named Jonathan and his journey through the music world. and it's a great, great album. It was critically acclaimed, and here's the vinyl here. On one side it's the white, and on the other side it's red. And it's got, you know, some great songs, amazing story. It's another masterpiece, really. You know, Chainsaw Charlie, Murders in the New Morgue is amazing. I Am One, The Idol, you know, Hold On to My Heart, kind of slower killer stuff there. Dr. Rocker, this is amazing. Crimson Idol. I need to get the actual regular vinyl of this too, but I love this. And then I also have the 12-inch Chainsaw Charlie, which folds out, and it came with 3D glasses, and it's got a 3D picture there with the lyrics there. And it's also got so it's got an extra song in here called Phantoms in the Mirror that isn't on the album, and the Story of Jonathan Part 1. There's on the regular album they have this whole long story about Jonathan, and it's kind of, you follow that through the record. And this has the first half of it narrated. I didn't get the second single with the second half. I wish I had that too, but it's really cool. Love W.A.S.P. And then they did a best of album out after that called First Blood, Last Cuts. Really good here too. It's got everything up to there, up to Chainsaw Charlie, you know, all the Crimson Idol stuff. Here's the track list for it's a double record. You probably can't see that with so much glare. But yeah, it's really good. And here's the sleeves. That looks like the first record. And the vinyl's black wax. My favorite. I love black wax. I like colored wax too, but I've always been a black wax guy. Always liked that the best. And here's the second sleeve. It's like the Headless Children. And so that's pretty cool. The album looks the same. So, you know, they had a best of album at that point, and then they kind of switched gears and went almost industrial goth. And I only have this on CD, but it's KFD, Kill Fuck Die, and this is very different. And when I first heard it, I was like, "What is this?" I just couldn't get it. But then you hear it more and more, and it grows on you and grows on you. There's the track list, and now I love this album. It's really good. It has this weird cover there, and there's the CD. But yeah, I'd like to find out. I don't know if this was ever released on vinyl, and I don't have most of the rest of them on vinyl. I do have on cassette, which is pretty cool. This is cassette. This is called Live Animal. So there it is. And it's, you know, Animal and Hellion, Mississippi Queen, the mountain cover. They do it really good, and it's got the lyrics of Animal on it. Really cool there. So I've always kept this cassette. And then I also have another cassette, double cassette. This is W.A.S.P. Double Live Assassins, which is during the KFD tour. And it's got everything from their early stuff to KFD. Really killer sounding. Great live album. They're really good live. They're just amazing live. And I got a couple of their later albums. I'm missing a few. I need to get them. I don't even have them on CD, which is really sad because I love W.A.S.P. so much. But then I have some Eldorado. This is a pretty decent record. It's good stuff, you know. Damnation Angels is a great song. Dirty Balls, you know. Cocaine Cowboys, Hot Rods to Hell. It's W.A.S.P. You know, it's still them. And they kind of, this is kind of a mixture of their sounds, this album. And it's on this vinyl here. Pretty cool. And then I've got this this other compilation, which is really cool. This is the Best of the Best double record. Great album here. And they do a version of Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, the Elton John song, and it's really good. I actually prefer this to the Flotsam and Jetsam did a version of that, but I like the W.A.S.P. version better. It's really cool. And, you know, this has everything up to Eldorado on it. So, and there's the track list on it, if you can see it. And it's a double record. Here's the gatefold here. But, yeah, I just appreciate W.A.S.P. so much because it's really, they're the band that really started getting me into the heavier music. And, you know, and after them, I started getting into Megadeth, Anthrax, Metallica, Death Angel, Testament, you know, all the big 8, I call them, and then other bands as well. But this is the band that was my gateway into heavier music. And then I also have their newest release, which is 2015, Golgotha. Really good record. And you know, it's a double record as well. And it's a great one too. I like this. This album surprised me how good it was, because you know, it's just really good. Solid album. I like every song on it, but I like every W.A.S.P song. So when I like a band, I usually like everything by them. I'm not like, well, I like this song, I don't like this. I am so much of a music lover that when I like someone, I usually like everything. Sometimes I don't. You know, there's times, but for bands like this, I'll take anything they have. So, all right. Well, there's my my W.A.S.P collection. Like I said, I don't have everything. They have a few more CDs that I don't have that I'd really like to get. I will be, you know, if I ever see them, I'll pick them up, of course. But just great band. If you haven't heard W.A.S.P, take a listen to them. Especially start with their first few albums, or Headless Children, and they you can go from there with them. I would recommend starting with their first album. Actually, it's just so good. It's an all-time classic metal record. Perfect record all the way through. Not a bad song, and everything is just in your face and great. Amazing album. Amazing band. And all right, everybody, until next time, rock on.